Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive with us.
Today, we're going to be tackling something I think every parent struggles with at some point,
Yeah.
and that's childhood fears.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an excerpt here from a parenting guide that's
Yes.
got some really good tips that we're going to go over.
But we want to do more than just
Yeah,
skim the surface. We
yeah,
really want to kind of dig deeper into the why behind this stuff.
absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I think so often, we're looking for like the quick fix
No, totally.
with kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
just tell me what to do to make this stop.
Yeah.
But actually getting down to like, why is my kid? Like,
Mhm.
what's happening for them developmentally
Right.
that's causing this fear to come up
Right.
can help us be so much more effective in how we approach it.
Yeah. It's like you're saying it's not just about making the monster under the bed disappear.
Exactly.
It's about giving them the tools
Yeah,
to deal with those feelings.
absolutely.
Okay, so tip number 1 in this guide, and this one seems pretty straightforward, but
Okay.
acknowledge, don't dismiss.
Mhm.
And I'll admit sometimes my instinct as a parent is just to be like, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's so natural.
Like, what's the harm in a little reassurance, right?
Yeah, you just want to like make
Oh.
it better, right? You want to soothe.
Of course.
But think about it. Even just that phrase, "Don't worry."
Yeah.
What you're really doing there is dismissing.
Right.
You're dismissing the fear, and you're kind of dismissing the child,
You're failing.
their feelings.
Yeah.
And so their feelings are real, even if the source of them seems totally irrational to us.
Right. Like telling a kid who's scared of a dog, like, oh, they're friendly.
Exactly.
He's not going to hurt you. He doesn't.
Yeah, they don't care.
That doesn't change the fact that in that moment their heart is racing and they're terrified.
Exactly. And think about it, like
Mhm.
even for us as adults, when we go to someone with like a problem or something that we're afraid of,
Right.
and they say, "Don't worry." Like, how does that make you feel?
Not good.
Not good,
Yeah.
right? And so it's the same for our kids. And so when we validate those feelings instead of dismissing them,
Yeah.
that's actually how they build emotional intelligence.
Okay.
It teaches them that their emotions are okay, even the really uncomfortable ones.
I like
Yeah.
emotions are okay. Which makes me think about tip number 2 here, which is open the lines of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we can't validate their feelings if don't feel safe even sharing those
Yes.
scary thoughts in the first place.
And that's where we have to get a little creative.
Yeah.
Because we can't just say, "Tell me what's wrong."
Right.
Because a lot of times they don't have the words,
Right.
especially younger kids.
Especially with little kids. Yeah.
And so it's like, how can we ask questions
Yeah.
that help them to open up?
Okay, so instead of saying, don't be scared, what are some things
Yeah.
that we can say?
So I love to make it into like a story.
Okay.
Instead of just like shutting down the fear, what if we were like, "Oh, what does the dark make you think of?"
Oh, I like that.
What if we were like, "Oh my gosh, I used to be scared of the dark too when I was little." Do you want to hear about it?
Oh, that's good.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
like you're connecting with them.
Yeah.
You're making them not feel alone, and you're making it something that you can kind of explore together.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like we become fear detectives,
Oh, yeah.
not fear
I
erasers.
love that.
Okay, so speaking of detectives, tip number 3 is where things get really interesting. And this is comfort and reassurance.
Yeah.
And the guide's really clear that this isn't about making false promises.
Right.
It's about presence.
Yes, and just being there with them.
Yes.
Right? Because I think it's so tempting again to be like, "Oh, that's never going to happen."
Yeah.
Or, lightning never strikes the same place twice or whatever it is.
Right.
But that's not actually helpful because we know as adults, those things can happen.
Right.
So what's more helpful than like
Right.
denying their reality
Right.
is being like, "I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I'm here with you. And it's okay to be scared right now."
That's so good.
It's acknowledging like what's happening for them
Right.
while still providing that safety in the moment.
That's so good. I'm here with you. It's okay to be scared, but we're in this together kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that makes me think about tip number 4,
Okay.
which is gradual exposure.
Yeah.
So we're not throwing them into the deep end of their biggest fear,
Right.
but we're also not letting them just like hide from it forever.
Exactly. And this is where I think the science is so cool
Okay.
because our brains are incredible at adapting.
And so when we do this gradual exposure, we're actually helping to rewire those fear responses.
Wow.
So like a really common one that I see a lot with like little kids especially is fear of dogs,
Sure.
right? And so instead of being like, "Oh, we're just going to go up to every dog we see,"
Right.
we can start with looking at pictures of dogs.
Okay.
We could start with watching videos of dogs.
Okay.
Maybe we go to the park and we watch dogs from a distance,
Okay.
right? And each step of the way, we're showing them, okay, I can handle this.
Right.
And then we're going to take it a little bit further.
Wow. And each step builds on the last one.
Exactly.
So it's like they're slowly building that confidence.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us to our fifth and final tip here, which is modeling bravery.
Right.
And this one I think is so powerful.
I think we as parents, we don't realize how much our kids learn just from watching us.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so if we're telling them to be brave, but then we're like freaking out about something,
Right.
they're going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how can we model that bravery even in the face of our own fears?
You know, it's funny you should mention that because I remember when my daughter was little, she was terrified of escalators.
Wow.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm not the biggest fan of escalators myself.
Yeah.
They freak me out a little bit, but
Yeah.
but seeing me like get on the escalator and like ride it,
Right.
even though I think she could tell I was a little nervous,
Yeah.
it helped her so much more than any words could have.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. And I think what's so great about that example
Yeah.
is you weren't faking bravery.
Right.
You were modeling how to manage fear,
Yes.
which is a life lesson,
so good.
right? That goes way beyond childhood.
It does. It does. And it makes me think about like all the times I've tried to be brave in front of my kid.
Right.
And like maybe I didn't do it perfectly or whatever, but like she saw me trying.
Exactly. And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Okay, so to recap our 5 tips for navigating childhood fears. Acknowledge those feelings. Open the lines of communication up. Offer genuine reassurance. Try that gradual exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And model that bravery.
Yes.
Ah.
Such simple tips.
Right.
But the impact can be profound.
It really can be.
And it makes you think, right, like how many of those could we stand to work on as adults?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Maybe our own fears could use a little deep dive.
That's a deep dive for another
For
day.
another day.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.